we all been waiting for. Really. And by we all, I mean me too, because I'm into the bochinche.
And so when you have to tell me why, that's what makes a debate show.
Gotcha.
And that's what it's about.
Now some weeks ago, something you said, which you said several times, you wrote about it in your book. You talked about, your experience with Max Kellerman working on the show. And I saw a reaction from Marcellus Wiley, and he said you got rid of Max Kellerman because Max wasn't dumb and white.
Okay. Well, let me say this. I'm not talking about, I'm going to address that last part. The first part, I'm not addressing it anymore, and here's the reason why. Some people want to do anything for clicks. Y'all don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. We're established. But others have to do that. And so when you see that's the tsunami of comments and all of this other stuff, even my bosses called me. It was like, yo, man, it's in your book. Enough's enough. And I'm like, they're right. I had nothing to say about it anymore. The ratings speak for itself. The decisions that were made speak for itself. It is what it is. Business is business, period.
Okay, and that's the funny part. That's the funny part. That's exactly what I've been saying to Stephen A. Smith. Why the hell are you talking about Max Kellerman 1,001 times? I'm get a good view. Why are you talking about Max Kellerman 1,001 times? Every episode. You wrote about it in your book, right? You already spoke on it. You guys didn't mix well together. It's not what you were looking for that show. We get it. Right? But of course, your boy, he wants to go crazy. He wants to go crazy.
In terms of what Marcellus Wiley said, now that I will address directly. And I only have one thing to say. He and I work together. Got a lot of respect for him. I know the man he was talking about as his best friend. I get all of that. No problem. Here's my only issue. For a black man to sit up there and say another black man is scared of somebody's intellect. Come on, bro. That's just the line you crossing. And
you know what's funny about that? Because that's the same exact thing when Terrell Owens got up there and he said, yo, Stephen A., Max Kellerman's acting blacker than you. Which, by the way, I think that was all. I ain't defending T.O., man, because I think T.O. comes with a lot of baggage. I think they're all a bunch of trolls. This is the troll gang. This is Bochinche Central. People play this game and they want to play victim. And you see, this is the example with Stephen A. Smith. Yo, the only problem I had with your defense was that you're saying I was scared of a white man. That was not the harshest thing that Max Kellerman said. I'm sorry, that Marcellus Wiley said. Marcellus Wiley said that you ain't black enough. That's what he told them. That he feels insecure about being, he went to HBCU with the HBCU jacket on, whatever it was. That's what he was saying. Like the Max Kellerman part, was about the fact that they kind of all universally salute Max Kellerman as basically a genius. The way I've ever heard him being spoken about was genius level person. And I rarely hear anyone being spoken about like that. And that was Marcellus Wiley's problem, because think about it. The way Stephen A. Smith spoke about him was, yo, you didn't, after he said all that, after he was on the pivot, after in his book, he explains why he didn't want Max Kellerman on there. Cool. It's not the show you were looking for. Then you went too far on Joe Budden's podcast and misspoke. The same way you misspoke about Skip Bayless and tried to say you didn't need him or whatever it was a year ago. And Skip Bayless came out for an hour and derailed you. And you had to come back out and apologize because you double talk, which we'll get into in a second. But you also spoke about Max Kellerman, because he didn't play basketball, didn't play a sport, and he wasn't a journalist like you. I don't even know. He's Mike Lupica or something like that. Peter Vesey. I don't think we hold Stephen A. Smith in the same vein. I don't know. Because of that, Max Kellerman lacked that background, you're saying people, the audience didn't resonate with him. That's a totally different statement than you saying you guys didn't debate well together. Your boy, Mad Dog Russo, is not a former athlete. He ain't no journalist. He was doing the same thing you were on the radio in the 90s. That's how we grew up. He kind of helped usher in this whole era that we see now on ESPN with the likes of you, right? And then you help pull him into the TV screen now because you know he's that kind of guy. You know he's the kind of guy that's fiery. He's going to say something that's polarizing. You guys can argue, and that's great. But to say Max Kellerman is only up there for what reason? Because you guys hired him. Why would you hire him if he didn't have this background? Right? And it's funny. It's just funny to me.
I have nothing more to say other than that. That's sad that he would go that route. I guess that he's going to get attention because obviously everybody who watches The Breakfast Club every chance we get, and you're going to see, talk about it. I'm certainly not going to argue with him. I've always had a lot of respect for him. Me and Marcellus Wiley have never had one issue. And
do you hear his tone? The funny part is that if you look at all the clips with Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith, he never talks like this to Max Kellerman. He's never this calm like this. He's like that's what he don't understand. Like it looked like you were bullying Max Kellerman on live TV. And that's not the reason why we were turned off by it. It's because Max kind of wasn't fighting back and he was trying to do it with his stats and everything. And I see that's the other part. Like I see the fans trying to act like Max Kellerman was washing Stephen A. Smith, and that's not what that show is there for. That show is all wrestling. Max Kellerman was he's gonna go super Spock on us and try to Vulcan his way into an argument. That's not what that show. The show is wrestling. Bottom line. So Max Kellerman didn't fight back Stephen A. Smith the way I wanted him to be honest with you. Like he was letting Stephen A. Smith bully him. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would have never let Stephen A. Smith talk to me like that. I don't care how much he owns or runs that First Take network. You're Max Kellerman. You're the people's champion. You came up from public access TV. He was doing what we're doing now with YouTube, which is crazy. He came up from there and went on First Take, the highest rated sports show in the last 10 years, whatever it is that this guy keeps bragging about.
I don't care what support he has for his boy or anybody else. I get that. I support my boys too. But I would never in a million years say that one black man is scared of the intellect of a white man. I would never, ever, ever do that. And for him to do something.
Well, yo, I'm telling you, this guy's a wrestler. I love it. He gets very serious with his tone on this level, and he delivers the speech in this manner. Now you have to take me seriously because I'm not my bombastic self, as he would use, right? That's the word he was used. This guy's crazy.
Something like that, that's on him. Y'all have known me for years. The business has known me for years. I've been on national television with the #1 debate show on television for the last 12 straight years and counting. I've been winning, but more importantly, I've been in a bubble in the public eye on national television every day. We've had disagreements, you know what I'm saying, the whole bit. Y'all have never questioned my intelligence.
No.
Ever.
Never. Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, I get it. I understand it. There's a lot of brilliant brothers out there. Max is one of them. Genius. Absolutely true. And a good brother, too. Good dude, rather.
See what I mean? Everyone, somehow, they always come across that word with genius. They call him a genius. Look, Stephen A. Smith gives it up to him. So if he's a genius, that's the reason why you wanted him on the show. Why did you treat him that way? Like, it wasn't the fact you treated him that way. He was trying to evoke the emotions out of him, I guess. I think he was trying to provoke him. But Max clearly wasn't. They needed somebody else on the show. There's no reason why he couldn't have been part of this rotation now. maybe he would have looked at it like a demotion or whatever it is. I just can't see why he couldn't have been like the friendly, your boy that's around. They would just pick on him for having these kind of to speak this way about, like, everyone's not crazy like that. Like, everyone can't win a barbershop argument because you're not loud or whatever it is. But there's always that smart guy in the corner with all the stats that really can be like a general manager on the low if he really wanted to be. Stephen Smith could sell tickets, obviously.
I get that.
But he called Max Kellerman the genius, man. Come on now.
But to me, forget all that. I wish him nothing but the best. I ain't rooting against anybody. I'm rooting for him. I'm even rooting for Marcellus. I don't want him to fail. But if I ever saw him again, one-on-one, it would be like a black man going in a public platform and saying another black man is scared
and not
of
as
a
smart
white
as
guy's.
Yeah.
No. Forget not as smart, because most people are not as smart as some other people, I guess. But that don't mean we're devoid of high intellect and intelligence. But
See, I thought, yeah, man. You see, certain people, when he talked about Glenn Robinson, he was very, when I see you in the street, he seen Kyrie, I got the same energy. For some reason, Stephen A. Smith, I think he was counting his gray hairs on that one. He's like, man, I ain't trying to get into no, I don't want no smoke with nobody, man. I'm sitting on 20 million, 100 million, whatever it is with Disney. Let's not forget. The deals you hear about, I think, are very low. The equity he's probably got on Disney is amazing.
To say that I feel,
but he said if I see him on a one-on-one, you can't say words like that. Not from their school. Come on, man. Marcellus Wiley and Stephen A's from a different school. You don't use those words, Stephen A. Chill. Very relaxed. I noticed. Pick and choose who you want to go one-on-one with.
The intelligence of any man. Any man. I've debated Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. I've debated Cornel West. You see what I'm saying? I've been on the phone with President Obama. I've debated political pundits, and I'm not even a political aficionado. We're talking sports, y'all.
This is when he contradicts himself again. If we're talking sports, why are you taking it that serious? I would have laughed at him. He's clearly, though, that the black and white thing, it hurts him. Just a black man saying another black man is scared of the white man. Like, you kind of do come off like that. We are talking sports, Stephen A. Is there anything?
This entry or something, this ain't scared. Okay.
On first take back in the day. And said you weren't, Max was blacker than you.
Okay.
Pissed you off more, Marcellus' comments or Terrell Owens' comments when he was on First Take back in the day?
Yeah, okay, that was a good question.
And said you weren't, Max was blacker than you.
That was just ignorant. Like, listen, you and I have talked about that. We all have talked about it. Black folks, our community, there ain't nothing in this world that I love more than black people. Ain't nothing I'd rather be other than black. But that don't mean that we don't have our issues as a community. And a lot of times when you think differently, when you think independently, our own gets at you because they want us, 1 minute we want to be independent in a maverick style, and another minute we want to walk around and act like we're supposed to be one monolithic group, all aligned in terms of our thinking. I don't subscribe to that. Nobody thinks for me. I think for me. And I make my own decisions. But
so why'd you have on an HBCU jacket? And see, he's contradicting himself. Like, if you're a radical, be a radical. And he's not consistent. It's just like Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas, 1 minute wants to go scream and shout about, Giannis not being skilled and, complaining about the Bucks or whatever. Marcus Johnson comes on his show, and the first thing he does is diffuse the tension by having a Bucks jersey on. Like, when you're a troll like this, you get caught up. And when people catch you and they back you into a corner, this is what you do. You play victim. Like, yo, I don't even know why. Bro, just be yourself. Why do you care what? And what's funny what he's saying? I guess with black people in this country is saying that he's not black enough or whatever. It's just like me going back to DR. They'll call me a gringo. Like, they'll say you're American or whatever. It's like, yeah, and you want my green card. So it's this disc and a bottle of piss.
when Marcellus said what he said, it was a disappointment, because you hurting us when you say that, not me. You hurting us because
who is us? I'm gonna go outside today and interview 10 African Americans, and I'm gonna see if they're gonna say, "Hey, do you know who Stephen A. Smith is? Were you hurt by the Terrell Owens and Stephen A. Smith beef? What is he talking about? You hurt us. Come on, man."
Dare I say, I think I've accomplished enough where, my level of intelligence is respected. So what about those that may not have accomplished what I've had or haven't had an opportunity to really, really expose the level of intellect they possess? Well, what are you going to say about them? Not him specifically, but a country that's looking at a black man saying that about another black man. So that's fine. But the TO thing was just, that was what pissed me off, because his lawyers contacted ESPN to sue me. Now he wants to say that wasn't him, that was his lawyers. I'm like, they work for you.
They sue you for what?
That's what he said. Because he tried to say I said something off the record that I didn't say. Wow. So I don't, but I've never, listen, doing what I do, I would never violate a trust, because you don't have any credibility. You do that,
Oh, see, that's what the whole, I guess, beef was about. T.O. was, yo, look, I showed you my text message. You apologized because you said I thought that was a tweet. Like Stephen A. Smith mistaken a tweet for a text message that T.O. texted him, and he read the text out loud. And Terrell Owens said, yo, that wasn't meant for public consumption. And, Stephen A.'s flat out denying that right now.
One of the things you have to do is know how to keep secrets. You can't open your mouth publicly when you gave your word that something's told to you in confidence.
So when you threatened to expose something about him, when you retweeted him, that's what it was?
No, what I was saying, and no, that wasn't what it was. What I was trying to say to him is that I wasn't even trying to threaten to expose anything. I'm trying to say we all know all the troubles you've been through. We can talk about it. But, that's neither here nor there.
Oh, now it's neither here nor there. See, that's what I'm saying. When you're that dramatic and you're a troll, that's what happens. What were you trying to expose? The same thing that we already knew? Come on, man. He's a walking novela.
Yeah, but that's all I was saying. And then when he called me and talking about I didn't tweet, I retweeted. Well, that's tweeting. I mean, I don't know what to say, So, but I was only pissed off about that, and but that's over and done with. We spoke on it, we had our words, and that's that, and we move on. But that pissed me off more, the Marcellus thing, to answer your question, maybe.